Hi guys, I'm back again. This time I want to talk to you about how to know to make the right decisions. I guess you could call it that in one way, an easier way to know to make the right decisions. Okay, so I guess you all remember when you were young, that little boy or little girl that you were when you were a child. You're still that same boy or girl, right? Even though you're in a little bit bigger shell, perhaps. But you're still that same little boy or girl you were when you were, I don't know. I don't know what age you see when you think about the little one within. So, as you still are that little person on the inside, that little guy or little girl is still in here. Okay? So, what if he or she was your child? Your physical child? Would you treat it the way you've been treating yourself? Or would you, better still, would you allow others to treat this little child, your little child, the way you've allowed them to treat it for all these years? Now, I'm not saying this to criticize or to make you feel guilty. I'm saying this because I want you to be aware and perhaps do something about it. I want you to empower yourself. I want you to know that what is right for that little child is also right for you. What is wrong, what would be wrong for that child, would be wrong for you. And it is much easier to make decisions for a third party person than for yourself, as you know. So, every time you end up in a situation where you don't know which way to go, say yes, say no, do this, do that, what would be right for that little child? It's always good. If you're the yes saying type that always says yes to everything, whether you have the strength to do it or the time to do it or not, you always say yes because you want to be nice to people. Well, one of the fundamental reasons for that is that we as people, as humans, strive to achieve love and confirmation, to get confirmation, to feel confirmed. Okay? And what we strive to avoid as much as possible is pain. So you know that every time you say no to someone, you might be causing them pain. Or they make it obvious that if you say no to me, I will feel a lot of pain and you will hear everything about it. That's quite common. And because you have this press on you to that people might get upset with that and you will feel their pain, you prefer the happiness. You prefer to get confirmation. You prefer the love you get from them when you say, yes, okay, I'll do it. But that is a short-lived bliss for you, because it won't take long until you feel the pain of having said yes. And in many cases, you're not just doing yourself an unfavor. I hope it's called an unfavor. Anyway, it is not a favor for yourself, because you are also not doing the person you say yes to a favor. If you've ever, for example, watched someone's kids for a weekend or so, and you said yes even though you felt that, no, I don't have the strength nor the time, perhaps, have you noticed that when they come back to pick up their kid or kids, it seems like they tend to talk only about themselves. They're not really talking about, oh, how has your weekend been, by the way? How have you been? They come there and they talk and they talk and they talk and they talk so much that maybe you don't even get a word in. Almost. It'll feel like you don't get a word in. It's because they feel guilty. They felt that you didn't have the strength nor the time, but they used you anyway because they could. And right now, or right then, they needed it. You're the easy solution to their problems. Always contact him or her. They always have the time, or they always fix it. They never say no. So what would happen if you say no? If this was your child that we're trying to do this to, I guess most of you would say, beep, no, right? No way, not my child. You're not going to abuse my child, that's for sure. So how come you're not doing it for yourself? And what would happen if you say no? Well, people will get upset and they will go on about it for a while. And in some cases they will say, well, if you say no, I'll never talk to you again. You've destroyed my life, or you destroyed my vacation, whatever it is. I mean, people can say that and don't really mean it. That would be the most common reaction to it. The most common would be to say, okay, that's a shame. I hope I can find someone else to do this for me instead. But anyway, if they say that, and they don't come back again, good riddance, because they were only being parasites on you. They were only trying to use you. They weren't really interested in you as a person. So good riddance. You've made room for new, better friends. Friends who actually care for you. The rest of them will feel, wow, good for her, good for him. Finally, she's got the balls to say no and put herself and what's good for her or him first. Secondly, the second effect from this will be that you will feel that, or actually you will feel more respect for yourself. I'll get into respect more next week, hopefully. Because when you say yes next time, people know that you could just as well have said no, which means that your yes means something. There is an energy exchange. You don't feel drained anymore. And people don't feel guilty because they know you will say no if you don't have the strength, which means they can leave their kids and feel good about it and don't feel bad when they come back again to pick them up, scared of what you might say, that it's been a horrible weekend or whatever it is. So you're doing both them and yourself a favor by saying no when you mean it and yes when you mean it. Your yes will be 100% more worth next time. And you will feel 100% better saying yes next time, or knowing you can say no if you don't have the strength nor the time. Okay? So think about this. Oh, and also, I said in Swedish, it might be that you cannot always follow what is best for your inner child. Let's say you're at work and your boss tells you that you need to work overtime today. You probably cannot go to him or her and say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't because my inner child here doesn't want to work overtime today. It's worked enough today, it thinks. So I'm just going to go now. Might not work so well in case you want your job to remain your job. So in cases like that, you might have to say to your inner child, okay, we'll do this, but afterwards I'll reward you with something. I'll reward you with a nice warm bath or a walk in the forest or an ice cream, whatever your inner child seems to like. Okay? And it's good for you, of course. So think about this. It can also be good in situations if you have an illness or something. If you have an illness, you're sick in some way, how would you treat your child if it was your child that was sick? Would you punish it as you punish yourself when you're sick? By saying negative stuff or putting yourself through a lot of, how shall I say, try to destroy yourself by with some medications or whatever it is, just to punish yourself? Or would you try the carrot, or would you try the stick? That's what I'm trying to say when it comes to your child. Now think about that when it comes to yourself as well, when you're in pain, or when you feel sick, or you have an illness. Would you use the carrot or the stick? Which way would you think your body would heal the fastest or easiest? By using this or using that? Think about that. So let's see what comes next week. Okay? Have a blessed week and take care, and I'll talk soon. We'll talk soon. Ta-ta.